So I recently found out that a limited time sign-up bonus offer of 125,000 Bonvoy points was available on the Marriott Bonvoy Business card. And since I was waiting for an offer like this before applying, I decided to jump on it right away. But just like my last application for the Hilton Honors Business card, this application was also not straightforward. So let's go on another credit card adventure, and I'll explain why I wanted this card, what made this application so difficult, and how I was able to navigate through multiple credit card denials. To start, there were several reasons why this card was so important to me because of my current credit card strategy. The first reason is that I'm waiting out my Chase 524 status, so I'm targeting business cards since they don't show up on my personal credit report. And at this rate, I'll be under Chase 524 by August of this year, opening up my ability to apply for Chase credit cards again. The second is that I'm in a unique situation where I'll be traveling a lot for work in the near future. And with all that travel, I could make it to Titanium Elite status with Marriott if I had this card. And let me explain how that works. Right now I have the Marriott Bonvoy Brilliant card, which gets me 25 Elite Night credits that count towards Elite status. But this benefit is stackable with the Bonvoy Business card, which gets you 15 Elite Night credits as well, totaling up to 40 Elite Night credits. And since you need 75 Elite Nights to make it to Titanium, that means I'll only need to stay 35 more nights to get there. Now that's still a lot of nights, but 35 nights is much lower than the 75 nights that I'd otherwise need to make it to Titanium Elite status, so I'll take it. And that's why this card is critical in my strategy to get that higher level Elite status with Marriott. But I didn't just want to apply for this card when there was only a standard sign-up bonus. Of course, I wanted to maximize the value I get from each credit card application, and this is especially important with American Express since their sign-up bonuses are subject to their notorious once-in-a-lifetime rule. So when the limited sign-up bonus offer of 125,000 points after spending $5,000 in purchases in the first 3 months showed up, this was the time for me to pull the trigger and apply for this card. And there are certainly a lot of other great benefits that come with this card, but for the sake of time, I'm going to skip over those for now and cover them in more detail in a future video so we can get to the application. But before we get started, I think it's important for you to know what my relevant data points are when I applied for this card, because my history with Amex is what made this application more difficult. At the time of application, my credit score on Experian was 796, with my last credit card application being the Hilton Honors Business card about 3 months ago in December 2022. But most importantly, I have 5 American Express credit cards. For those of you who aren't familiar with American Express's rules on this, they only allow you to have a certain number of credit cards depending on your existing relationship with them. The most common limits I've seen are 4, 5, or 6 credit cards, and of course, these don't include Amex charge cards such as the Amex Platinum or Amex Gold cards, which have their own limit, which is around 10 cards. From my last application, I know that the maximum number of Amex credit cards that I could have is 5, and here are the cards that I currently have: the Blue Cash Everyday, the Amazon Business Prime, the Delta Reserve, the Bonvoy Brilliant, and the Hilton Honors Business cards. So going into this application, I knew that I had a high chance of denial because I had my max number of credit cards. So I needed to pick a card to cancel so I could make room for that new Bonvoy Business card. And really quickly, as per American Express's terms and conditions, it's very important to keep the cards open for at least 1 year before closing them, or else you risk losing your sign-up bonus on that card, or even worse, they could actually terminate the relationship with you. With that in mind, let's take a look at the amount of time I've had each one of these cards open, and here are those numbers. So out of these 5 cards, which card will be the one that you think will be canceled? If you guessed the Amazon Business Prime card, you would be correct. It wouldn't be very smart of me to cancel my oldest personal credit card, which is the Blue Cash Everyday, and the Delta Reserve, Bonvoy Brilliant, and Hilton Honors Business cards are all under 1 year old. So the only logical choice here would be to cancel the Amazon Business Prime card. So now that we have a plan, let's get to applying for this card. Okay, so here I am at the main application page, so let's go ahead and click Apply Now. Since I'm already signed in, a lot of the information has already been pre-populated, but at this point, let's make sure that we have the right card with the right sign-up bonus. And you can see here that we have the Bonvoy Business card, and we have the limited time offer of 125,000 Bonvoy points after spending $5,000 in the first 3 months, so we're good there. The first thing we'll do is we'll fill out our total annual income and business name on the card. Of course, if you have a DBA, this is where you'd fill that out, but if not, you click this box here that says company does not have a DBA. Next up, you'll choose your company structure, and for me, I'll select corporation. I have direct ownership of my business, so I'll select this checkbox here. And then I'll put in my annual business revenue, federal tax ID, and then fill out my role in the company as well as my Marriott Bonvoy number. And for these hotel cards, it's important to provide your loyalty number on your application. Otherwise, Amex will create one for you and you'll have to combine both accounts later. Okay, so the time has come to submit the application. So here we go in 3, 2, 1, and submit. All right, so this is expected. It says, thank you. We have received your information pending review. Okay, so let's see what we can do about this. So right after I got to this page, I received an email letting me know that a decision had been reached. And so I logged on to the application status page, which showed that I was denied. So of course, the next step was to call the reconsideration line. I spoke to the rep and they informed me that yes, I was denied because I had reached my maximum number of credit cards with them. And I knew this was going to happen, so then I told them that I'd like to cancel one of my cards to make room for the new card application, so I was transferred to the main customer service line to do so. So after confirming that I wanted to cancel my American Express Amazon Business Prime card, this card was officially canceled, and the representative told me to go ahead and reapply online now that I had one less card. So I went back to the website, clicked on Apply Now, checked that I had the right card and the right setup bonus, filled out all my information again, and submitted the application, only to be met with the same pending approval page as I had before. And just like last time, I received an email notifying me that a decision had been made, so I logged on to the application page again, which showed me that I was denied yet again. So I had the same thing happen to me with my last American Express application, so for me, this was really nothing new. But man, getting denied twice back-to-back for a card you really want is brutal. Luckily, both applications were soft pulls, and this is one of the best features when applying for American Express cards, where after you get your first personal card with them, all other applications, both personal and business, are usually going to be a soft pull. Okay, so a second denial means a second call to the reconsideration line. Once connected, the rep told me that I was denied because I had the maximum number of cards with American Express. To which I replied, no, I actually just canceled one of my Amex cards today, so I should have a slot open for this new card. Now at this point, I expected the rep to reconsider my application on the spot, but for some reason, this time he did something different. He told me that he was going to send my application into the reconsideration department to do a manual review and to expect the final outcome in 3 to 5 business days. And I was a little bit confused because I've always had the reconsideration done right then and there while I was on the phone. And I asked about this, but the rep told me just to wait at least 3 days before calling back. And so I played the waiting game. And I did not like that because I just canceled my Amazon Business Prime card, and if I got denied for this new card, I would have canceled a perfectly good card for nothing, and that didn't sit well with me. But I received an email the following day from American Express informing me that I was approved for the card and that I'd be receiving it in 7 to 10 days. And so I was able to take those 2 denials and turn them into an approval, getting me the Marriott Bonvoy Business card and the opportunity to complete this limited time sign-up bonus, as well as access to those very important 15 Elite Night credits. Now, I share this experience with you so that if you're in a similar situation, you'll know how to navigate this type of complex application process. And since I've gone through this process twice with 2 different cards, I now have a very solid workflow to share so you can use it if you're ever in a similar situation. And that situation is if you ever apply for an American Express credit card and you're at your maximum credit card limit. If this is the case, don't be concerned if you get denied. The first thing you want to do is call the reconsideration line to confirm why you were denied. If they tell you it's because you maxed out, just ask to cancel one of your cards. But remember, only cancel cards that you've had for at least 1 year. After canceling a card, apply for that new card again, knowing that you'll likely get denied again. And you can apply by phone or online. If you get denied, call the reconsideration line again, and if they give you the same story, let them know that you recently canceled a card to make room for that new card. And at this point, they'll either reconsider you on the spot, or they may push you through a manual review, which may take a few days to complete. And if everything else is good with the reconsideration process, hopefully you'll be approved. Another tip for you, and this is one that I can recommend personally, if you can, try to call the reconsideration line during normal business hours, like Monday through Friday between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. For this application, I called the reconsideration line on a weekday around 7 p.m., and I think this may be the reason why my reconsideration wasn't done during my call. I actually think that even though I called the reconsideration line phone number, I was rerouted and talking to customer service since that department was closed for the day, and customer service had to forward my request for a manual review. So with that being said, I'm excited that I was approved for this card and I'll be able to get to work on this limited time sign-up bonus offer. And if you want another example of how I turned a credit card denial into an approval, watch this video next where I use a similar application strategy to get approved for the Hilton Honors Business card.